Look around you, different things born out of truth and passion. Business software, it's our craft, our identity. Thoughtfully engineered, passionately designed to help you transform your business. Zoho, made in India, made for the world.
Morning, I'm Harsh. Let me first start off by asking you, first off, what's your sense with regard to if this sale were to translate, how material is it, and how large of a value unlocking do you see this to be for a USL?
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
So if you look at United Spirits as a company, in terms of what we value the RCB franchise, we actually peg the valuation to be at about $1.1 to $1.2 billion. So if at all these reports are be true, that that the selling actually happens at about $2 billion odd, it's 60-70% higher valuation as compared to what we are pegging it right now. Now, in terms of our target price for United Spirits, we value this company on SOTP basis, wherein the core alcohol business valuation is about 53 times PE forward, and the IPL valuation is about $1.1 to $1.2 billion. Now, assuming that this actually goes at $2 billion, you will see a potential upside of 6 to 7% on our target price of UNSP. Our target price of UNSP is about 1,400 today, which can potentially go to maybe 1,460, 1,470 basis, this IPL team valuation of $2 billion.
And that's the thing, right, Karan, which is the talking point in the market, like Sajid as well was just highlighting. While you're already evaluating RCB business at $1.2 billion, will they actually get the ask of $2 billion? I think that's a bigger question.
See, in terms of PE multiples and valuations, IPL teams valuation actually moves up once you have renewal of media rights. So if you look at the data in terms of last 10 to 15 years, or rather since time IPL started, the valuations actually move up once the media rights come for renewal, once the auction actually happens, and once you see a big boost in terms of media rights revenue. Because for these teams, effectively, 80% of their top line is media rights revenue, right? So that revenue number has to see a jump, basis which the valuation also increases. Now, in this case, we are still 2 years away in terms of the next media rights auction. We don't know in terms of how much this number will move up. So let's take the example, the last media right auction when it happened. Before that, the revenues for these IPL teams was about 200 to 220 odd crores, which has now become 2.5, 3 times to about 500 to 600 crores number right now. Now, the potential is that in the next 2 years, do we see a situation wherein the IPL media rights revenue, or rather the IPL media rights auction value, can become 2x from current levels? If that is to be the case, then yes, this number of 600 crores can become 1,000 crores plus in the next 2 to 3 years, and then grow at 10% compounding beyond that. And then if you put the math there, basis that it's at about 16, 17 times sales. But that is stretching the valuations too much, because firstly, we don't know that the media rights value will actually become double in the next cycle, because whoever has bought the media rights in this current cycle, they made hefty losses, both on TV and digital platforms put together. That's the first thing. Secondly, the last media rights auction when it happened, the market was heavily competitive. Disney and Jio were both separate entities. Now they have come together. So now the bargaining power is slightly heavier on the platform side than the media rights auction side. So if at all the media rights are not sold for a premium in the next cycle, then these valuations kind of become absurd and could be challenged. But if at all you could see a big amplifier or a multiplying effect in media rights auction in the next 2 years, then these valuations are largely justified. But even if that's the case, you are stretching the valuations too much, and you're assuming too much basically in terms of the next media right auction, and you're assuming that there'll be a huge demand for the renewal of the media rights. The platforms will bid aggressively, and there'll be a huge value creation out there.
Karan, many of these franchises have not been able to expand the non-media rights revenues. I mean, they've been trying to do that, but they're not getting that kind of traction in that revenue. How do you see that? Because globally, if you look at some of the clubs there, they have a non-rights revenues, which is a very big component of their total revenue pie.
See, non-rights revenue for them is about 20% contribution for the teams. Now, these numbers have been very similar in terms of percentage contribution. Obviously, they have grown. But the point here is the exponential growth in media rights revenue is so big. Like, for example, in the last time around, the media rights grew by 2.5 times versus the earlier cycle, which is almost about 20% kind of a compounding growth. And if you look at the non-media rights revenue, the growth rate there is about 8 to 10%. So non-media rights revenue is basically two components. One is the ticketing revenue, which is basically, having more people go on ground to watch the match live, and the ARPU hike in terms of ticket prices. So ARPU hikes have been in the range of 10-12% compounding. That has been there. Second part is the endorsements and the endorsements revenue that the team would basically make in terms of jerseys and sponsors and everything put together. That somewhere is very volatile in terms of its performance. That has also grown by 10-12%, but we have not seen like a very big multiplier effect, because that depends on the ad revenue of the entire ecosystem. And if you look at overall India advertising market, the growth rate is now more than 10 to 12% on a steady state basis. So I think globally things are very different, because globally ticket prices are very high. You can take ARPU hike, and that's why the media rights component is lower over there. But in the case of India, I think 80% is media rights today. Potentially, let's say in the best case scenario, it can go down to 70-75%. But still, media rights will have a lion's share in the next 5 to 10 years as well, because of the big delta growth that we're seeing, because of so much of demand for media rights in terms of the auction, whenever the auction happens.
Okay, Karan, great to get in that perspective with you. I think it's Lalit Modi who's actually had a tell-all tweet. I think one can get a lot of cues from there.